So something really cool happened over the last week. Somebody messaged me on Instagram and asked me to give my comments regarding the Colonial Pipeline shutdown. Now, I have a number of thoughts regarding the shutdown itself and then what it actually means for America, because right now it really makes America look kind of vulnerable. But to shed some light on the situation with the pipeline, I'm going to read this article by CNNBC by Emma Newberger, who said, quote, Colonial Pipeline has returned its entire system to normal operations and is delivering millions of gallons of fuel each hour after a ransomware attack forced the company to shut down its network last Friday. The company said Saturday that its pipeline is now servicing all markets. However, there are still widespread fuel shortages in many of those markets. In Washington, the nation's capital, 80% of gas stations are without fuel, according to the latest data from GasBuddy. In North Carolina, 63% of stations are short. In Georgia and South Carolina, more than 40%, and in Virginia, 38%. The cyber attack had forced the company to shut down approximately 5,500 miles of pipeline and triggered widespread fuel shortages in the Southeast and panic buying in some states. Colonial carries nearly half of the fuel supply on the East Coast, including gasoline, diesel fuel, heating oil, and jet fuel. Colonial restarted operations around 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, but warned that the pipeline would not be fully functional immediately. A U.S. official who spoke anonymously told NBC News on Thursday that Colonial paid almost $5 million as a ransom to the cyber criminals. It's unclear when the transaction occurred. To be completely honest, the cybersecurity threat scares me almost more than anything, because I try to compare it to different things that I've talked about, different topics, different subjects. And, you look at social issues, you look at elections, you look at a bunch of different political stuff like that. And it's like, well, I can go out of my way to find information about that and to educate myself and to formulate my own theories and opinions. And I can talk to people about that. People can listen to my videos about that kind of stuff. And, that seems to help. That seems to make a difference, right? But the cybersecurity thing, it seems so far out of grasp for the average everyday American that we're kind of just sitting around and waiting to get information about it, or waiting for something like the shutdown of the Colonial Pipeline. Like, we're just waiting for stuff like that to happen. And I'm not talking about protecting yourself from protecting your finances, protecting your bank account, your credit cards and stuff like that. I'm talking about on a global scale. Like, what happens with cybersecurity on a global scale is way far out there for most Americans. And it's way far out there for me. It's like, I don't even know how to start combating something like that. And so inevitably, you hope that whoever is in charge, you hope whoever the president is, can bear that burden and put Americans first and protect Americans from this kind of stuff. But it doesn't seem to be happening right now. In fact, in many different ways, it seems like America is more vulnerable than it's been in a while. You look at the lifestyle that Americans are living because of COVID, the way that COVID has hurt businesses and organizations, from cybersecurity to the situation at the border, our relationship with other countries, with all the things going on in Israel right now. It seems like we are vulnerable in multiple aspects of the way the country works, our economics, our social standing, the global impact that we have on the rest of the world. We are failing in a number of ways, and America itself has become very vulnerable. And I keep on trying to do the math in my head, and I'm asking myself, we are only just a few months into the Joe Biden presidency. And so I'm looking at all the things that have happened, and I'm trying to stretch that out over the course of the next 3.5 years and ask myself what America is going to look like in 3.5 years. And I don't have the answer, but judging by what I have seen so far, it's not going to be good. And I'm probably going to spend the next 3.5 years just comparing Joe Biden to Donald Trump and the contrast there. I'm probably just going to spend the next 3.5 years doing that, because I think it's a legitimate argument, because Joe Biden was supposed to be the one to fix everything, but things keep on getting worse. So I'm just going to pound that nail as hard as I can until people realize, and I think more and more people are coming to this realization pretty quickly, that Joe Biden is not exactly who he said he was going to be. He's not even what people thought he was going to be. And America is, in my opinion, much worse off in a number of ways with Joe Biden than we were with Donald Trump. And just to paint the picture of where we're at, it's like, well, Donald Trump, he didn't handle the social issues very well. He wasn't as nice or respectful or whatever it was that we thought he should have been. Look, fine, and I can kind of see, and I can see reasons why people would think that and feel that way. But he was a businessman who came in to run the country like a business. And what did we get from that? We got one of the best economies ever. We got an extremely low unemployment rate. And, people will say that COVID is Trump's fault. I mean, the existence of COVID was not Trump's fault. Outside of like those kind of things, like I really would have liked to see what America would look like without COVID, with Donald Trump being in office. And Donald, if COVID had not have happened, I would say that Trump probably would have won the election last year. But just to take a look at it, I don't know what kind of mentality, I guess, Trump had when he came into office, right? I don't know specifically. Make America great again. Okay. There's a lot that goes into that. If you're just going to say we're going to make America great again. Okay. That's a good slogan you can run on, right? But I feel like what Trump did was he tried to fortify America. He tried to fill the gaps that were left by the previous administrations. And he said that we are going to put Americans first, whether it's the safety of Americans, the prosperity of Americans. We are going to put America first. We are going to put Americans first. And so he was going to fortify America. And that means that he was going to change the way we do business with other countries. He's going to change the situation at the border to where we are more protected from illegal immigration. He's going to change our relationship with Israel. He is going to create a safer America. And it's not, and the thing is that Trump did have to deal with cybersecurity issues, but it never seemed like it was in our face this much. Okay. And we certainly didn't have an entire pipeline shut down, and Americans were left without a basic resource such as fuel. That didn't happen. And it goes back to what I was saying a week or two ago about the America that Joe Biden is creating, and that it's just a free-for-all now. So that doesn't only go for illegal immigration. That doesn't only go for people who want to come into this country illegally, because they know that Joe Biden is not doing what Trump was doing. And so they feel more invited to go and try and enter into this country. It's not only about the border. It's also about the cybersecurity. And if you think that other countries and groups of hackers like this dark side group that I just read about, if you think they are not salivating over the fact that we have a weak leader in Joe Biden and that there's a potential that they can just come in and take whatever they want, I don't know what to tell you. Because as America gets weaker, as Joe Biden gets more and more unstable and he gets weaker, America gets weaker, and we lose that kind of... I'm not saying necessarily that countries should fear America necessarily, but I mean, should we not demand their respect in one way or another? And that was the difference between Trump. And it's like I said before, it was like, well, Trump lacks social grace. I get it. I understand. But my gosh, at least he wasn't going to let people walk all over him and in turn walk all over the United States. And like I said, I'm going to have to beat this drum as long and as hard as I can until people realize that what Trump was offering America wasn't actually that bad. And I've actually seen stuff like this on social media. It's saying I would take a bunch of mean tweets and $1.98 gas over this nonsense any day. And they are right. They are absolutely right. And I think that in some ways we need to change what we're looking for in a president, in our leaders. We need to change, really. It's not all about being politically correct. It's not all about saying the right things at the right time all the time. But it's about having some strength, or at least the mental capacity to get through a paragraph of speech before you start mumbling nonsense. The presence of Joe Biden in the Oval Office is basically just a gigantic electric neon sign saying open for business to anybody who would want to do America harm. And the shutdown of the Colonial Pipeline, the hacking of the Colonial Pipeline, to me, it's only the beginning. Ask yourself, judging by all the things that we have seen so far, what America is going to look like 3.5 years from now.